Rams Nation, our Los Angeles Rams got a dub out there in New York, New Jersey, against the New York Jets on the early window of games. I'm sure many of you had to get your early Christmas shopping done ASAP so you can watch this 10 a.m. Pacific game against the New York Jets. And I'm welcomed by yet again, Mark, Paul, the Rams Up crew. Here we are. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share this video with all your fellow Rams fans and football fans as we get into today's edition of the Rams Up post game reaction. Gentlemen, we did just enough to win. Thank God. I was stressing for a while, right, Mark?
Yeah, that was, I kind of had a feeling this was going to be, wasn't going to be a cakewalk. It just
Yeah.
wasn't going to be. You fly out to the East Coast, cold, frigid weather, and I saw a lot of the Rams out there with no shirts on, trying to get themselves psyched up. But hey, they pulled away in the fourth quarter. Defense more or less carried the day, and Kyren Williams. So hey, win's a win. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks, whatever it was, against the Bills, we won in a shootout. Then we win in the rain, and now we win in the ice box. No ice, but pretty darn cold. So that's good. Good for the Rams finding different ways to win in different situations.
Real quick, to your point about them warming up without their shirts, I can't even tell you how many times we've seen teams and players do that,
I
whether it be
know.
high school, college, and then those guys who are on that specific team lose. I mean, right? How many times does that happen? So I saw that and I was like, I get what they're trying to do. I was like, they better freaking win, right, Paul?
Yeah, pneumonia sometimes impacts your play, so you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that
I
was
think
good,
what a
but
lot of
whew,
I think what a lot of people forget about is, these players are from all over the country, right? Kyren Williams played at Notre
yeah,
Dame, so it's not like he's an LA guy, right? He'll do just fine
yeah,
in
I
the
know.
cold.
Well, spending a lot of time out there in the out here in Southern California, I'm sure it's changed some of their tolerance, no doubt about it. But
Hey,
thank God they won that.
it was 68 degrees here, and I had the heat on this morning. So
See,
watching these guys.
that exact point right there. So luckily, our Rams didn't freeze up in a very cold day. Where I know the vibe around town, Paul. I know you're in the Strong Island. You're part of that whole region right there. A lot of people were not at that game, so there was not a heavy Jets um, home field advantage, if there is any, with their crappy season they have. But a lot of Rams fans were out there. Did you happen to see that in the streets of New York, New Jersey?
No, the general sentiment when Saturday rolled around as the temperature dropped to 24, it was like, okay, so Sunday will be a game we watch from home. So that was the general feeling. But it's good for the Rams. I'll tell you why. I mean, we know, like, based on, I mean, a lot can change over the next couple of weeks. But if they do have to go on the road, think about it. Look at some of the teams, right? Green Bay, Philly. It's going to be this type of weather, so it's good for the Rams to have as many games as humanly possible out there, just so they can get a feel for it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's a nice positive for them. But they were definitely looking at, like, how quickly can we get back to JFK and get on the flight.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, to your point about that, though, it is good to see that this Sean McVay offensive minded team can finally start winning some games in some crappy weather. Thursday night football against the Niners figured it out. This game where Stafford looked like his fingertips were frozen, throwing some wild passes, they figured it out eventually. But gosh, let's just start with that first half, though, gentlemen. How are you feeling going into halftime? And I'll just be short and sweet. I was worried and I was like, gosh dang it, this is going to be another one of those days offensively where they're Jekyll and Hyde. They didn't show up, right, Mark? How did you feel going into that half?
There was a moment where my scoreboard push-ups, I felt like I might get to maybe 3 or 6. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
It was, it was just one of those games where, the offense, and actually, it wasn't so much their offense, it was just that these long drives and, limited the number of possessions, just like McVay said. It wasn't like they were necessarily playing poorly on either side of the ball, giving up long drives, but not giving up points. It was just fast. I mean, that game was that first half was over in the blink of an eye with these long drives. But
Yeah.
it was, I had a feeling, it was painful to watch at times, but I had a feeling they were going to come through at some point. make a big play here or there and get the win, and they did. But yeah, that first half was a little stressful.
Yeah, stressful for me. And real quick, when we talked about our keys to victory on the roundtable edition a couple days ago, what did we all say? That Rodgers wants to execute his offense very 1980s West Coast style, West Coast offense style that the 49ers with Steve Young and all of them and Joe Montana made famous. Short passing game, treat it like an extension of the run game, keep the clock going, get 5 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards. And that was what was going on. So what do we say? Keys to victory: stop the short passing game with Rodgers, make him chuck it deep, because he hasn't been accurate with that. And it was a complete opposite that first half, which is why I was very stressed and worried, right, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, look, the one time they went after him with curl, they got a turnover, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the interesting thing. So, and I think it was the Broncos that went after Rodgers heavy and generated a ton of chaos. So that I was surprised that they were sitting back and just letting him shred them apart in the first half. But they lost the time of possession battle, 32 minutes to 28 overall for the game. So and we said that the TOP is what's going to dig. This is the first time in probably a couple of weeks that we've said that for the Rams, even with their ground game going today. So that was huge in the first half. So and that's what was the name of the game in the first half. I think the Rams were limited to 2 possessions.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. I mean, man, I'm glad that it could have been way worse going into that half. But luckily, McVay's teams have lately, the last couple of years, been much, much better adjusting at halftime, I feel, both schematically and just kind of morale, right? Rally the troops and let's go out there and earn it. So in that second half, we finally started to see some good things happen. And what's something good that we saw happen, Rams Nation? We saw Tyler Higbee score a touchdown. That's what we've been asking for the whole season. Get some tight ends in the end zone, for damn sake. And what a shock. In his first game back, Tyler Higbee scores of the 2024 campaign. Shout out to Rams PR on X, formerly known as Twitter, putting out always fun stats we like to share on this channel, on this network. On his first catch since returning from injury, tight end Tyler Higbee surpassed Bob Boyd, 3,611, for 13th most receiving yards in franchise history. He also tied Robert Woods, a fan favorite around here, for the 14th most receiving touchdowns in franchise history, with his 23rd today against the New York Jets. What a great sight to see. I mean, you saw all the sideline, all the teammates, backup starters, guys inactive, coaches. I mean, everyone was so happy to see Higbee score. And what a crazy touchdown catch that was, too. Little play action, naked boot, right? Stafford fakes one way, then he rolls out, runs to the opposite side with no lead blockers. Higbee running into the flats. Hey, I'm open. A little quick toss. And dude just leapfrogs and scores in. I mean, that's what we were missing, gentlemen, in my opinion, with this tight end group. And I'm pretty damn happy that he was able to have some good contributions. It wasn't a screen pass, Mark, like you called. It would be his first. A little flat route into the end zone, was it? But Mark, how do you feel about Higbee, contributing yet again?
I think it's awesome. I think he's already, sadly, I think he's tied with Colby with tight end touchdowns this year after one game, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know what that says about this offense the first 15 games, but hey, man, every Ram fan loves Tyler Higbee. He's not a Pro Bowler. He's just a really good tight end, a team guy, and tough as nails. And you can just see it. And it was awesome to see the team rally around him in the locker room too. I don't know if you saw that. I was really surprised. I like the Tyler Higbee with the long flowing hair more than this version, but maybe he'll let it grow out again. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was cool. What about you, Paul? Thoughts on Higbee scoring a touchdown, man, making some more Rams history?
Yeah, the thing that stood out for me the most was like when he went airborne. So he has confidence in his knee.
Crazy.
That tells you that right there, right? It was a little concerning that the Jet player went low, knowing that who the guy is. It was like, what are you doing, dude?
I know.
But yeah, that was phenomenal to see him go airborne. So that means he has confidence in his knee. They were using him in the ground game blocking as well. So, and McVay's enthusiasm to get him back You know McVay wants more production out of that tight end position, particularly from the offensive side of it. And then the reaction, there's a reason they call this guy a glue guy, right? He's not just, one of the guys that, that the other teammates like. You just saw that explosion on the sideline. Big Rig Higgs is back. He's nasty. The dude's nasty. He throws the body around and when he blocks, but when he gets the ball in his hands, he knows what to do with it. Beeline to the end zone, and that's the difference. What's interesting is that we saw Hunter Long was starting to play really well. We saw Parkinson was starting to play really well, right? They had a nice balance going. Davis Allen was starting to play really well. So holy cow, you talk about an embarrassment of riches now at the tight end position.
Yeah, and I think all four of them were active today, which surprised me.
Yeah. So that's going to be really, really interesting to watch as it unfolds moving forward.
It's good. Well, think about that Super Bowl season, gentlemen, in 2021. I mean, Higbee has a leg injury. I want to say it was a knee injury then. He couldn't perform majority of that whole playoff tournament. Sucks. Johnny Munt had blown his ACL earlier in that season. He was the backup tight end. Then we have Kendall. Gosh, I'm blanking on his name right now.
Blanton.
Yeah.
He had a great game in the playoff. He had a fantastic game against the Niners at the NFC Championship. Then the opening drive of the Super Bowl, he separates his shoulder, or he has some lower leg injury, if my memory serves me correctly. And then Bryson Hopkins has to have crucial catches on the game-winning drive. So that's 4 tight ends deep right there. And we don't think that group overall is as talented as this group of 4. So I think that's a good sign, Rams Nation, that we have 4 tight ends that all could play. Now, to what capacity and all that, that'll have to be figured out. But obviously, Higbee's tied in 1, and then whoever earns it after that, so be it. Let's go. And if things do go south with that position group for health-wise, at least we know we got 4 dudes who could play and execute this offense, what they're asked to, So I think that's a good sign for sure. But you know what else is good when you execute? Running the damn football, like Kyren did today, right, gentlemen? So shout out to JB Long, voice of the Rams here, who always has some fun stats to share as well. Most 100-yard rushing games since 2023 via NFL research. Derrick Henry, future Hall of Famer, 11. Saquon Barkley, you could argue he's a future Hall of Famer, 11. And who's right after that? Our starting running back, Kyren Williams, with 10. Today he had 23 carries, 122 rushing yards, and a touchdown. Dude is fantastic. Dude is underrated. I feel like now people are starting to realize that he's that dude. He is the guy to be considered as a top running back in the NFL. And what a shock. His first 2 years getting the full workload as a starter. He's up there with Hall of Fame level running backs. Absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad McVay would say, you know what, Kyren, it's going to be your day to smash this, interior Jets defense without Quinnen Williams. Who that was a big loss, and we took advantage of that. But I'll start with you, Mark. Your thoughts on the run game today, how it led us to victory, and then just Kyren in general, since he's been our starter these last couple of years, being fantastic.
Yeah, he is so much fun to watch. He is so much fun to watch run. He seems to make extra yardage. It looks like the play is gonna get blown up, 3-4 yard gain, and he ends up getting 7 or 8, finishes his runs. And he's very elusive. He's the entire package. And I want to throw in too that I know it got called back, but that run by Blake Corum was a beauty as well.
It was.
Really showed the vision he demonstrated on that run. Is a bummer that got called back, but Kyren is. I think he's finally starting to get the recognition as a top 3, 4, 5 back in the NFL for sure.
Yeah, that was great to see him run. What about you, Paul? Thoughts on his running today and then being a beast?
Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? That's Kyren Williams. That's exactly what he does. But you know what was great today? 3 times, right? He's it looks like he's held up by the defense, and then the entire O-line is just piling on. That was just awesome, right? That physicality. I think the Rams offense, the O-line and Kyren and Blake, they all recognize now with the return of Big Rig Higgs. I think it's going to take on a whole new dimension. I think they're really relishing it now. This is like a nice facet to this offense that we knew was there, but now it's something that I think the entire unit looks forward to. So they really look forward to Kyren the Rock, and you can see it, with him as well. But one part of his game that really showed up today, and it's been showing up every game this season. We'll talk more about it at the roundtable. Is when Stafford does those line calls and they use him to pick up the blitz and the edge rushers. Did you see that today? Ram Nation, there was one where they Jets were faking a Mike blitz, right? Mike fire. The middle linebacker didn't come, but they sent an edge. Kyren had his head on a swivel, and he picked up on the right side, right behind the right tackle. That was just awesome. What a beautiful thing to see. And he's just vicious in the pass blocking. So that's a nice dimension that makes Stafford feel nice and cozy in the pocket. That doesn't always get mentioned post game.
Not at all. And you know what? Let's just bring this up too while we're at it. Shout out to just another game where Stafford did not get sacked. Stu Jackson, who will also throw into the Rams universe some fun stats to read and digest. The Rams offensive line allowed 0 sacks for the 3rd straight game, marking the 2nd longest streak in franchise history and the first time they've accomplished that feat since the 23 campaign, if everyone can remember what was going on then. I mean, if my memory serves me correctly, gentlemen here, or Rams Nation, let us know in the comments. Is this the 5th or 6th game this season where Stafford hasn't been sacked? I know what we're talking about here is 3 in a row, which is fantastic. But this has to be the 5th time or 6th, if my memory serves me correct, without looking it up, that he hasn't been sacked. I mean, wow.
Yeah,
this is what needs to happen with a 36, 37-year-old quarterback, right, Mark?
Yeah, and I'll dig that up for the roundtable, but that sounds about right. There's been a bunch of them. Offensive line just playing really good run blocking and pass blocking.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I mean, your thoughts on that, Paul? Jesus.
And we're really deep as well. You consider the guys we have on the bench. We got some good players. They're going to stay healthy, but that aside, we're really deep, which is something that's kind of new for this offensive line, I think.
I know. Fantastic. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Mark.
That's okay.
But Paul, O-line getting it done. Pass game too. Crazy.
Yeah, and right off the bat, when was the last time when we prepared for a game, right? In terms of our show here, that we were like, no injury designations for the Rams. I can't even remember the last time we said that, right?
I know.
So that's huge. So if you want to say the silver lining to the early injuries is that, like Mark said, right, hit the nail right on the head, right? A lot of those players got some really valuable experience. Players that we probably never would have put out there, like Didich, right? Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
So, that's some valuable depth. So it's going to pay huge dividends down the road. Like your Super Bowl example, you never know when those pop up. But that 5-man unit right now, they're starting to gel. Avila, so far, today was the best game that I've seen him have thus far. He was downfield. He was like a little kid piling on after every Kyren run. But yeah, they're looking much crisper in the passing game. Picking up stunts is probably where they're going to probably get better as they play together more and more. So, but overall, the balance, they're able to do whatever it takes. They're getting out there on the screens. They're getting downfield. In the run game, getting to the second level, not just blowing up people, on the D line. So there's a nice balance there. So McVay is very comfortable going deep into that playbook.
Yeah, this is what needs to happen at this time of year. Are the trenches winning convincingly? And I think Rams Nation, we could say that about the Rams O-line with this Bo Limmer at center, Avila back at guard, K-Dot, Havenstein, and Alarg Jackson, all as the main group. Sorry, Jonah. Another miss by us free agency wise, but this is the group that's going to win a championship, in my opinion. It's got to be that 5 playing good. And I know there was some whack holding calls on our unit, and this seems to be that for any O-line any given week. But I feel good about this group, and hopefully they continue it going forward. Because you know why, gentlemen, Rams Nation? In case you didn't realize what's been going on in the rest of the NFC West, Seahawks lost today with our old friend from Southern California, Sam Darnold. Cardinals, who for whatever reason, somebody pointed this out to me earlier. they can never win in Carolina against the Panthers. So that benefited us. Cardinals losing overtime with the Chuba Hubbard super day on the ground. As I can't believe that game-winning touchdown. If any of you guys saw it, totally had two guys wrapped him up, and they just got exploded off of. Chuba just ran right through him in overtime. That was fun to watch. And then the Niners, Brock Purdy throws a game-ending INT against the Miami Dolphins. So Cardinals, playoff eliminated. 49ers, playoff eliminated. Seahawks, them losing helps us further our chances to clinch the West in the coming weeks. What a great day before the holidays. Right, Mark?
Yeah, and we got to give a shout out to our defense. I know we were not really thrilled with maybe the game plan, but fourth and I don't know how many fourth down stops we got, turned it over on downs. I mean, you're probably going to get to that, Ian, but we had let's see, Omar Spates made a play. Akilla Witherspoon, who struggled all game long, I thought up to that point, had Devontae Adams covered. Darius Williams had a stop on fourth down. And our defense, man, is just rising to the occasion as well. And that's why we're in this position, I think, is as much as our offense, as much as we're in love with our offense, we give up, how many points we give? We give up 6 points. What was the score against the 49ers? And then we turn around this week and hold the Jets to 9 points. It's good stuff happening on our defense. You know who led our defense in tackles today, by the way? I was really surprised. I had no idea. Jalen McCullough. 9 tackles.
Yeah, he had a great game today.
Yeah. So there's guys stepping up all over the place, offense and defense. But yeah, those standings, it's I know we're not going to feel bad for the 49ers. Hey, wait till next year. Cardinals really surprised me because I thought they were coming on. I saw a little bit this morning.
Yeah.
Was it last night? These guys talking about the NFC West, and they were all leaning Cardinals because they had the easiest schedule left theoretically, and it's over for them. And one of the guys picked the Rams, but I don't think it was really a strong vote in the Rams' favor. But they're probably rethinking that now, man. After today, the entire division loses except for the Rams. Pretty sweet.
Well, like we said, there's only two options left to win the West: us and Seahawks, who lost a late Geno interception. Again, it feels like he has a crucial turnover for them with their season fighting wins, victories that they are trying to get. So thank God. But Paul, I mean, Rams one more game away from clinching the West based on everything that happened today. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, that would be a luxury, right? If that Seattle game is meaningless, that would be a real luxury. So fingers crossed that everything, it's like a algorithm that has to come into fruition now. So that all these different things have to come into play. So we'll have more about that at the roundtable. But if that works out, I would be ideal. Rams take care of business next week, and then they can sort of get some much needed rest for their star players going into the playoffs. But another unit that really shows up is the special teams week to week, right? Xavier Smith, Jay Witt on the coverage teams and the return teams. Another big play today. Evans with the consistency. Ram Nation, only 2 touchbacks all year.
Fantastic.
You talk about field position, right?
Yeah.
In close games like this, right? The Rams have played something like double-digit single-score games. Field position makes a huge difference. So find these guys who, for whatever reason, big dog Ronnie Rivers, right? Finding ways to contribute when they're not getting a lot of playing time on finding ways to contribute and help their team. So shout out to them. Way to go. They're very, very, noticeable today.
Yeah, that Jordan Whittington play in the end zone. How many times have we seen special teams players just butcher that play and screw it up? And he played it perfectly. And then the muffed punt. How many times do we see, they try to pick it up and run, which you can't, right? Just cover it up. And he pounced on that like a cat, made 2 big plays.
I know. It's what a team victory this was. And One more time, Rams Nation. Just like our friend SpongeBob here in this meme photo. You can smirk a little bit. It's not full smile yet. Got another win. And based off all the metrics, no matter what data point, what website you like to use, ESPN, NBC, whatever, if Rams beat the Cardinals on Saturday Night Football in Week 17, they will have officially clinched the NFC West. What a great time to be a Rams fan. 1-4 to a potential game-clinching game was still another game to play after that. Who would have thought? And we're in a great spot. But
Yeah,
Rams
and not
win.
only that, if they
Fantastic.
not only do they have a week off, then they'll have a home game opening round of the playoffs as well.
Oh yeah, I'll be there for that first round. No doubt about it. But with that said, gentlemen, any final thoughts before we get out of here and enjoy the weekend of first place Rams football?
Well, I'll close by just saying I just love the vibe on this team. You know, you can tell this team's feeling it, and Tyler Higbee kind of spoke to that in the locker room. Something special going on here, maybe. Still got to win on the field, but they're checking all the boxes. Offense is playing well. They got studs on offense. They're winning in the trenches. The defense, a bunch of young guys making plays, coming together. It's not perfect. But it's really promising. And then the special teams, we just need Cardi to get squared away, and we need him to get squared away for the playoffs. And I'm kind of on the fence on that. But man, you got to feel really good about where this team's at. You know, no complaints here, man. After starting 1-4, pretty exciting time.
Exciting time to do. What about you, Paul? Before we get out of here.
Yep, I think they're finding themselves. They, we said it from the beginning, right? It wasn't about talent; it was about the headspace. The headspace is starting to, clarify, and once they recognize they themselves, as a team, recognize how good they can be. I think that's just like when that light bulb goes on, then McVay's just going to push all those buttons, and then I think it's going to be the playoffs are going to be really, really exciting, Ram Nation.
Yeah, it'd be nice to go. It'd be nice to handle the Cardinals like 36-3 or something to roll into the postseason like that. We need one big solid.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Easy win, just crush them for once.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So yeah, one thing though, this is the way I look at it. Once McVay recognizes this team is on the rails, right? He's going to hand the keys over to Stafford, and then you're just going to watch it. It's just going to be, they've reached critical mass, and then it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point.
Maybe get some payback for that 42-10 drubbing or whatever the heck it was.
And maybe I'm not going to mention any teams by name, but maybe there'll be some payback for what happened to Big Rig Higgs. And yeah. Big Rig Higgs might be dispensing a little justice.
Well, I know all these scenarios that are going to start popping up, but playoff matches that's a fun topic. And there's one that I want to happen, but I don't know. There's a lot of football to be played these next couple of weeks, and we'll see how those things unfold. But for now, Rams Nation, enjoy a holiday win before Christmas time, before any of your holiday celebrations. The Rams win up in the Meadowlands at that real quick. Let's just call it what it is. Crappy stadium where people get hurt. I'm glad no Rams are seriously hurt at MetLife or whatever, the graveyard stadium people like to call it. Woo! But Rams win up there 19-9 against the sorry New York Jets, who were having a disaster year where they thought they were a quarterback away. Only the Rams were a quarterback away, and Tom Brady's Bucks. But we'll take the Super Bowl champions over whatever darkness Aaron Rodgers is going into. But that'll do it here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. Thanks for tuning in to our post-game reaction. I'm Ian. That's Paul. That's Mark. We'll see you guys very soon before the holidays as we'll squeeze in keys to victory before Christmas time against those non-playoff contender Arizona Cardinals on Saturday Night Football. But that'll do it here. We'll see you next time. Be safe. Enjoy the holidays. And go Rams, baby.
All right.
Shout out to Rutgers and the Fighting Falcons. Air Force
Camp. Not Rutgers again.
Well, at least
enjoy the time off.
It's going on better than the Jets. So shout out to them. Peace.